Until then I'll run.
Do you have the other red one that has the burnt top?
Burnt top?
Sewell hooked the jumper box up backwards and it melted the top port, but it still had the side port.
Alright, so it's the next day. We got into several diagrams and schematics and actually ended up spending a bunch of time up here in this harness figuring things out. But we now know what our triggers are for the fan relays and whatnot, which is all right here. We know that the windshield wiper reservoir goes right there and then has these two little numbers that go to it. That was one that took a while to figure out. I just figured it out this morning. We know that this goes to the alternator. I realized that my original plan of putting car accessories on here won't work because I can't sneak this back any further. So I'm sticking with the truck now. I just need to get a new water pump because I got rid of the old one. I didn't need that, which is so unlike me. But I'm moving, so things got. It is what it is. I could try and redo the turbo piping and sneak it in down there, but if I redo this, it gets it even closer to the battery, which I'm not 100% in love with. But it may be a thing down the road. I think at this point I'm gonna run the truck accessories and figure out something for power steering off of this. I'll build a bracket, whatever I need to do, and then go from there. So I've got my starter wire. So this is my starter trigger. So that needs to be ran down to the starter, no big deal there. I have my lead to the starter right here for the battery. That needs to be ran around. And then I need to find exactly where I'm mounting the box, get the box mounted up, clean all this up, and go from there. Basically, we didn't get a whole lot done yesterday. We identified some wires, figured out where the direction was going. I'm probably not going to wrap the dash up kind of like I thought I was going to because of the fact I still need the Holley accessory harness. When I pieced this kit together, I didn't grab that harness for whatever reason, so I don't have any of the triggers for any of like the fans and any of that stuff yet. And also don't know exactly how I want to run all of that. So for the time being, I'm basically going to get it close enough, and there'll be another point when we rip out and wires through. So at this point, I'm gonna basically get the dash cleaned up and wired and in, basically from here, from this column this way, and up the fender well done, and then get from the column over to the Holley system and where everything goes through done. Because I have all my leads and everything I need coming out of that disaster right there. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up and put back to right, and then get the AC and heating elements and all that stuff back in so I can figure out exactly how the wires need to run, because that's one of my issues I'm having right now with running the Holley stuff, is I got it in the general location, but there's other things that need to live there, so I need to get that handled. So it's basically just gonna be cleanup for the next little bit. I have one more wire situation I need to figure out for the line lock. We'll see where we get with that. I'm waiting on Granberry to tell me how to do that. So that's basically where I'm gonna go with it. It's gonna be a long, boring day. I will check in as things are worth seeing, I guess. All right, so it's very slow going because A, I'm fat and I don't contortion into here very well, and B, it's kind of, well, just slow figuring things out. So what I figured out is that I'm going to put my relays and fuses and everything right in here, because this panel is actually pretty easy to pop in and out. So I can stash them up in here and have access to them, and it keeps them all up out of underneath there. And then if I ever need to play with them, I just sit in the passenger seat. They're all right there. Blah, blah, blah. I've gotten all of my wires run over to that side over there. Right now I'm just kind of pushing everything that way because that's the mess I got to clean up. This side is pretty well handled. I've got my relay, or my wire from my fuel pump relay out of the Holley coming this way, which will have to be obviously extended, but that'll come down and go along those wires. And then I've got all of the other wires going across the dash that way. I actually have the center heater unit in the dash. I was just sitting in there to see what kind of room I was working with for the harnesses and everything, and fuses and relays and whatnot. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and figure out a good way to run the wires for the Holley and get those relays and everything mounted where I want them, now that I know I can. And then from there, I'm gonna move on to this side and start trying to figure out all of that. I've got the crossbar in, I just need to bolt it all together, and that's in, and then I get the steering wheel up, and then I can route the wires and get all that where it needs to be. So looking pretty good. I've got my hot lead for my relay that needs to go to the battery. For the fuel pump, it's gonna run across the back, which is also where I'm gonna run my starter main power lead, will go up and around there. And then also I extended the brake wires, ran one into a good ground, and then ran the other one over to the steering wheel. And yeah, so that's about it with the wiring so far. So I'll check back in once I get a little further in and maybe start making it look like a car again, and we'll go from there. All right, boys, we made some progress. We got the negative terminal on, grounded to the body, and then ran around to the head over there. It's just rough round. I'm gonna end up looming it up with everything that comes through there. Got all of our wires ran for everything that needed to come over here, so you can see the spaghetti is cleaned up. So we tapped into our brake, we tapped into our ignition on, and then ended up actually adding another relay because the trans harness I had was the one without the relay. So we added that relay right there into our little area over there. I gotta clean up some of the extra wire over there, but we're basically down to just doing some rough cleanup in the wiring, finding some home for some boxes that I don't remember where they went, like control modules and stuff that goes behind the dash. And then it's basically putting the interior together. So hopefully I can get that going tomorrow. And I'll check in with you guys once I make some progress, but not gonna end off the video here. It just wasn't that much that got really done as far as visual, it looks like. I mean, we made a ton of progress, and I've worked literally 2 days on this wiring. It just doesn't look like we made a lot of progress. So I'll show you guys once I actually start putting this damn thing back together. Also oiled the car, so ran the oil through, put the balancer back on, and you can see, yeah, we definitely have to go with the truck accessories. So I apparently recycled the truck water pump that I had. Now, granted, it was 180,000 miles on that one, so it's not the end of the world, but I don't throw anything away, but I'm moving, so I was like, oh, I'm going to car accessories, which was the plan until I figured out I couldn't do that. So I gotta see about getting a new one of those, but probably won't do that until after the move. At this point, trying to save money where I can. So that's where we're at, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow once I make some progress. Theoretically, this should turn over.
Well, try.
So, if the battery wasn't shot,
Definitely tried.
I want to hear this thing do something now. So the Holley specifically calls out in like 3 different places. Don't ever charge your car with their system hooked up, because it can fry the fucking thing. So it's a good thing that I haven't hooked up any of the Holley stuff yet. I'm about to start charge this son of a bitch. That sucks because the battery's garbage.
Is that one of the ones I brought over?
Yeah, and it was the only one that had 12 volts.
Yeah.
Which means it's got 12 volts, but it doesn't have any cranking amps.
I would say all the ones I brought hold voltage, but that's the reason Work got rid of them, was they didn't have any cranking amps. They wouldn't crank over the tubs anymore.
Well, when I make my final I'm gonna make one last recycle run.
That's why I snagged them, because I figured they'd work for golf carts.
Yeah.
But they don't have enough amperage for the golf cart either. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it's supposed to.
You got a headlight on?
No.
Oh, I guess you wouldn't because they're not plugged in.
We only have one headlight in the pole, and then
I hear the relay's working.
relay's working though. Yeah.
Alright. So that works off the key. I'm pretty stoked about that. But I like this because I know this is going to work, and I know I can get these, so I'm going to set everything up to basically work with this battery, and then I'll just scrap the battery. I just need to wire in the Holley system and make sure that turns on. I'll just charge the battery for a little while we chill. But that was on the key for the Subaru. Clicking on and turning over
Yeah, that's good.
an LS motor. I'm pretty stoked right now. Hell yeah. Alright, so I just got a little more cleanup to do inside, and I want to wire up some of this Holley stuff so I can make sure it turns on and reads like it's supposed to. And then we'll go from there. But I don't know how much I'll show you, so I'll check you when I'm done. Alright, so I made some pretty good progress. I'm actually pretty stoked with how this is coming out, and it's exactly how I imagined it and what we've been working towards, but it's just kind of cool to see it come to fruition and whatnot. So we've got, there's a dash in there, son. So everything on this side for the Holley is all done. I got the seat back in there, put a floor mat down there. None of this stuff is very nice. Definitely needs some interior cleanup, but the interior was never that nice to begin with. I got this all in. Had to notch a little bit up in there. I ran the USB drive from the Holley out of here so you can just hook up your computer easily. Nothing too crazy there. Center console I trimmed and got to sit in there, but it's just sitting there because we're having issues with the shifter. As you can see, we got that torn apart. It's not working at all. Like it works, but like it's not lighting up and it's not doing anything. And I believe we may have fried it when we were doing our thing with electrical the last time. So I did, however, get the power's not on. I got the resistor that was bad in the air conditioning system, so now this all works like it's supposed to. The hazards work, everything's working so far, so pretty stoked with how that's come out. But I'm basically gonna call it for tonight. Tomorrow we are starting the move, essentially, so probably just gonna throw this thing all the way up to the ceiling and then clean underneath it and go ahead and start getting the tools that we don't use very often, and probably the big toolboxes out into the trailer and start packing. I need to basically clean some space out so I can pack some stuff up so I can move some stuff out, and it's a big cycle, but we're like 2 weeks from rolling, so I need to start making some progress on that. Sunday, Granbury's supposed to be coming back out. Give me a bit of a hand getting some of the stuff wrapped up on this. I would like to get the electrical to the point where I can fire up the Holley and make sure everything's working right with that, but I mean, realistically, we're not gonna get too much further than that. So I will, if it's interesting, put it in the next video for the car. If not, this is pretty much gonna be the end of this episode. So I really appreciate you guys checking in and, you know, watching these videos and sticking with me. Sooner or later, this car is gonna run and it's gonna be pretty awesome. I want it to run as much as you guys do, but you can see also we do a lot of projects and it gets pushed to the side, and as you have noticed, the projects there are dwindling. I'm going to be down to just this car. It'll be the only project I have. I am changing a job though and changing towns and locations, so all of that's going to factor into it. But I should have enough content saved up for you guys so you don't get a lapse in videos. I don't know if it'll necessarily be this car, But, you know, so make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll check you out on the next one.